Hello, everyone. My name is Desiree. If you don't already know me, I'm a registered dietitian and nutrition coach at Delta Life Fitness. And I give these nutrition talks every single month. It is for you guys, our members, so that we can be giving you some nutrition information, tips, and tricks to help you just kind of navigate the big picture of your wellness. And as I've mentioned before, I'm open to suggestions, but this month, we are going to be talking about family nutrition, making it simple so that healthy eating can be accessible and fun for the whole family. Now, for pretty much all of you guys know this, but Delta just finished their Bet on Yourself challenge. And I just, again, want to congratulate all of you that participated. But for anyone who didn't participate in the challenge, one of the things that was part of the challenge in the beginning was we gave everybody a goal setting worksheet. And in that worksheet, we saw a lot of people's goals were to increase muscle, to lose body fat, to eat better, generally working on their wellness. But one of the most common answers that we got for why you wanted to work on all of those things, your motivation, is so that you can be a role model for your children. And this 100% makes sense to me. If any of you have families or thinking about having a family in the future, one of the things that I think the parent mentality is, I want to do better. I want to be a role model for my kid in all aspects. And when it comes to nutrition, something that I know, I experience myself, I see it all the time, is sometimes in adulthood, we're kind of working backwards because maybe our parents didn't have the means or the knowledge or the interest in helping us form these good habits in what we want to talk about today, right? So we know that it starts in the home, it starts in your family. And if you are leading a healthy lifestyle and prioritizing what you eat, how you eat, when you eat, how you move, when you move, right? If your child sees all those things and also in turn is forced to participate in those things, right? Because you're putting food on the table and you're, having activities for the family, then they just learn that that's just part of life and it's something that is important. Okay, so I wanted to use this topic this month so that we can kind of capitalize on that motivation, especially too, since we're getting kind of close to summer, the kids come out. And I think that around this time, there is so much opportunity to engage with your children when it comes to activity and wellness. Now, the reason why this is so important is I kind of mentioned is we know that it starts in the home. But the other thing is it's important for us to realize that nutrition is very key for children as well, because these nutrients that we're providing them are also fueling their growth, right? They are still growing. When it comes to us as adults, not to say it this way, but the damage is done, right? So what we're trying to do is we're trying to maintain our health, we're trying to improve our health, but we're not necessarily growing anything anymore. Now, we want to be conscious of that because children have different needs at different times in their lifestyle. They, as far as even just how many calories they need, but also different types of nutrients that help build different types of things. So we know that, but we also want to take advantage of the fact that children learn through their environment, just like I said. So they do what they see and what they hear, positively and negatively. But again, if they see you doing it at home, they're going to do that as well. And it's also a really great opportunity to take advantage of the fact that we are helping them establish habits at this time in their life. The prime example is we're teaching them to brush their teeth, right? So you as soon as they start having teeth, you're teaching them to brush them. Is when they are able to do that on their own. You're teaching them to do that on their own and teaching them that it should be done morning and night. And that is a habit that we all teach our kids, but yet we don't prioritize some of the other healthy aspects that do kind of, I'm trying to say that it plays a big role now into their overall health and wellness in the future, right? So it's a great time for us to start honing those habits from the beginning so that it just becomes part of their lifestyle. Lastly, something that I see a lot, and this is, I guess, more on the extreme end, but when kids are young, it's a good idea to start forming these positive relationships with food, because the same way that you may say, like I hear from adults all the time, that's not a food that's good for me. I don't eat that. I said I can't have that, blah blah blah. And it's because you're labeling foods as bad or not good for you because maybe somebody else said that was the case. And we don't want to teach kids, as long as we can help it, to categorize foods that way. And we don't want kids to be forming negative relationships with food, because we know that it can kind of fuel into bigger issues down the road. And we don't want to be doing that. So, how can we make this easier? How can we start incorporating these nutritious lifestyle habits into the family with ease? I have a few tips for you. So, tip number one is you have to plan for it. I have said this time and time again, and I will never stop saying it. Leading a healthy lifestyle when it comes to nutrition and in your activity is not just going to happen. You have to be intentional. So, what this means is healthy food is not just going to appear at your home. Even if you're going to do like a meal delivery service, you still have to take the conscious effort to pick up, somewhere that you're going to get meal delivery service and pay for it, given your address and all those things, right? So, in order for your household to have healthier food on hand and to actually eat that healthier food, it's going to start with you making a plan. It's going to start with you maybe making a list of the types of foods that you like to eat, that your kids like to eat, making a list of what you need to get from the grocery store, maybe looking up some recipes. So take that time to plan it out. And yes, it takes some effort in the beginning, but the more you do it, just like anything else, it becomes easier and easier. And this is a great opportunity for you to involve your kid, because they can be involved in the planning and then be a lot more excited about what you end up putting on the plate, because they might have asked for it, or had a part in purchasing it, whatever the case is. Okay. Now, when we are trying to make these healthy meals and snacks, there are three things I want you to focus on. Number one is going to be variety. So there's a little rainbow on there, and that's to remind you that eating the rainbow or including a variety of colors in your diet is going to increase the variety of nutrients, vitamins, minerals that you're incorporating, right? So ideally, if we're kind of touching on every single color group, that's going to help. Keep an eye out in the lobby of the studio. Every single month, I am picking a color. So this month it is green in honor of St. Patrick's Day. But every single month, I'm picking a category and I'm putting some foods that are within that color. So again, I've picked some green foods, and then I gave you some nutrition information about those foods. So they're little snapshots on that. Every single month, I'm picking a different color and I'll rotate them out so that you can get an idea of what types of foods are in the purple category and why did they benefit me, etc. So make sure that even with yourself and with your kids, you're including a variety of colors. And I think that this would really get them more excited too, because kids eat visually as well as you should. But the more colors that are on the plate, the more exciting it'll be, right? Second is to eat balanced, right? So I know that sounds kind of counterintuitive, but what that means is making sure that you're including pretty much every food group, right? So they should be having some protein, they should be having some fruits and vegetables, they should be having some carbs, healthy fats. And if you're including all of those things together in a meal or in snacks, just like yourself, you're going to be more satiated. It's going to help you feel fuller longer. And that's what we need to do with both, like, you as an adult, but also with your kids, so that your kids aren't kind of like bugging you or having energy slumps in just the same way that you do, right? The last piece is moderation. If any of you have spoken with me or worked with me one-on-one, or if you've ever heard me say it before, but my coaching style is never to say that you cannot have anything, right? So I'm not going to tell you that you can't have a beer. I'm not going to tell you you can't have a piece of cake. You can have those things, but we practice moderation. And again, this kind of goes back to not labeling foods as foods that I can't have or negative associations with foods, because this is kind of something that I bring back to the child mindset sometimes when I'm coaching adults is if I tell you you can't do something, we kind of revert to that. Okay, well, she said I can't, so now that's all I can think about, right? And so kids are definitely like that. So we're not going to tell them that they can't have a cupcake or a cookie, but we're just going to um, passively teach them moderation or control that moderation as their parents, and not have them focus on the sugar laden, empty calorie type of foods. Okay. Now, snacks are key, I think, especially depending on the age of your children. And it's great for adults as well. Okay. You don't always have to eat just 3 meals. And in fact, most of the time when I'm coaching people, I suggest that they have 3 meals and a snack in between so that you're eating 6 times a day. And the same can go for children. And in fact, most children are naturally going to be grazers. It is sometimes really difficult to kind of wrangle your kid for dinner, but they'll eat 6 or 7 times, throughout the day. And that's okay as long as those 6 or 7 eating events are equaling the nutrition that they need for the day. But can actually be a good thing when it comes to making nutrition more fun. Is it gives you more opportunities to add different types of foods, especially healthy foods to their diet, and it gives you more opportunities to make it fun. So you can see this looks like a pretty fun plate, and there's a lot of activities that you can do to involve your children with. And again, they will be probably more excited to eat healthy food if it looks like this and if they have had a part in it. So this kind of brings us to the last kind of pieces. Like we talked about the meals, we talked about snacks, kind of go hand in hand. But one thing I just want to remind you as parents is it's a good idea to make sure that you are promoting water as the first type of drink that they should be having. Children, especially school age children, need to have 6 to 8 cups of water a day. And most kids are pretty good. They'll ask for that all day. It's definitely a lot easier if you're giving them a fun cup. Like you can see the little bluey cup there. Make sure that you're using that as a good motivational tool to make sure that they're drinking water and make sure they have water available all day. That doesn't mean that they can't have other things like juice and milk, and even soda is fine in moderation, depending on how old your kid is. Or I shouldn't even say that. If you want to give your kid soda, that's up to you. But everything in moderation, right? But we want water to be at the forefront and available all the time, and save some of these other drinks for, I like to do it as like a mealtime thing so that it kind of feels a little bit more special. I do this as an adult too. Like you drink water all day, but at dinner, that's when I might have a soda or an iced tea or coffee or something like that. So one of the things I put a couple of inspiration pieces on here. And the reason why I did that is because it is okay for your kid to have juice, but there's a big difference between brands and quality of ingredients, etc. So orange juice is, a lot of times you can get 100% orange juice. There's nothing wrong with that. Pay attention to serving sizes. Don't let them drink orange juice all day long, right? So again, if you're following that you're prioritizing water, you'll be fine. And especially too, a lot of the orange juices you can get fortified. So this one that I have pictured here is fortified with calcium and vitamin D. But generally speaking, especially the Simply brand has very minimal ingredients, but there's plenty out there. So just be mindful of that. Honest Kids is a really good option if your kid's a big, like, I want Capri Sun, I want the Kool-Aid juice pouches. There's also smaller juice box ones. This is actually the first juice that I gave my daughter when she was little, but I was a lot more kind of like annoying a parent at that time of like, she can't have anything, any sweets or any sugar. But in reality, this is still my daughter's. She's 10 and this is her favorite juice. And it kind of bugs me because I'm like, you can have any juice you want and I have to spend more money for this juice. But this juice, the Honest Kids one, is like water and natural fruit juice. So I like that brand. I threw Fairlife on here because it is important that kids are getting dairy because they need the calcium. They're often fortified with other ingredients, and it's an excellent source of protein for them. Fairlife specifically is lactose free. So a lot of times kids and adults have issues with lactose, but you can see there's a little comparison on there that Fairlife has 13 grams of protein and it has a little bit less carbs. And there's a little comparison down there. But again, you can give your kid anything to drink, but make sure that 80% of the time they're doing water. When you're giving them something else, just make sure you're being mindful and practicing moderation. Tip number 2 is kind of what we were talking about before, is get the kids involved. So a couple of ways that you can get kids involved with the healthy eating process is offering several healthy options from each food group, and then giving them kind of like the giving them the wheel and letting them pick, right? So this can help them again with more interest. If you let them pick what they would like to have, maybe you can, have them help you create the grocery list, take them with you to the grocery store, walk them through the grocery store and tell them where they can find these things. I know that in general, sometimes people are like, I don't want to take my kids to the store. It's so annoying. I can't get anything done. But if you have maybe only one kid, or if you can or take one at a time and let the other ones stay with dad or a babysitter. But if you kind of talk to your kid throughout the store as if you're showing them things, sometimes they might be a little bit less annoying. I did a lot of shopping with my daughter when I was younger, and I talked to her a lot, and I feel like she learned to talk very well, and she like learned how to interact with people well. And again, it's an opportunity, right? And so take them with you and let them know that you're in the produce section, and this is where the fruits and vegetables are kept, and this is where we can find oranges, and which orange do you want, and let them touch them all and do that kind of stuff. This kind of goes hands in hand with asking them to choose the ingredients. So especially something like, let's say pizza, you can say, what type of toppings might you want on your pizza? This is where we're going to find them, etc. And then have your kids get in the kitchen with you, right? Get them involved as much as possible. Some things that they can do in the kitchen would be measuring things, helping you measuring things. When they're age appropriate, they might be able to do some chopping. If they can't do chopping, there's a couple of activities that are kind of like chopping. Like, I don't know if any of you know this, but I'll kind of demonstrate. But if you take a piece of asparagus and you're supposed to like kind of bend it this way, it's supposed to like snap in just the right spot to where it becomes like woody and where you don't really want to eat the lower half of it. That's a good activity. Same thing with like string beans, when you can kind of snap off the ends instead of chopping them. Let them sit and do that. Maybe picking all the grapes off the stems. They can also do other activities, like if you're making cupcakes, or maybe not cupcakes, but doing something like egg bites, like what Starbucks has. That's, a great thing for them to help you with ingredients. It's a good prep for breakfast for you and them, but they might want to put like cupcake liners in there. Or if you're making zucchini muffins or something. Stirring, mixing, of course. Get them involved with maybe the decorating or the presentation of something, washing produce. And then one of the things I like the most is like choosing toppings, like a DIY pizza night, taco night, topping like a yogurt bowl, etc. Do what you can to get them involved. Number 3 is to try, and try again to introduce foods to them, because most of the time a kid is going to be like, ugh, broccoli, disgusting, right? Maybe the first time you give it to them. But if you keep trying to present them with different vegetables, different types of foods, and present it in as many different ways as possible in different times of their life or different times of day, they may be more receptive to trying it, number 1, and number 2, realizing they like it. So a couple of things that I like to tips that I give families is to pick one type of vegetable and then see how many different ways you can introduce it. So for example, sometimes kids will see a vegetable with a specific type of food, and then they pair those things together. So if you offer the vegetable with a different type of food the second time, they may be less quick to say, ooh, I didn't like that last time. Another thing you can do is hide it in something else. I think everybody knows that. But also play with temperatures. So some people and kids like things hot versus cold, raw versus cooked, different sizes, shapes, like literally everything. Try everything. And don't even just try like at one stage in their life. Maybe wait a year, especially if you're dealing with younger kids like a toddler. Wait a year and try it again. Wait again until they're 4 or 5. Try it again, and just keep trying. Okay. Now, the other thing that I kind of want to show as a little example is The reason why we care about this is we want them to eat a specific type of food, right? So broccoli is an example. The first picture that we have here, we have steamed broccoli. The second picture, we have broccoli tots. And there was a picture that I found for that, but there's plenty of recipes out there. The next one is a cheesy pasta with broccoli. And the last one is broccoli blended into a smoothie with blueberries. Okay. At the end of the day, if your kid eats any one of these, they are getting some broccoli, right? Same thing with the top. We have ground beef in the form of a burger. We have ground beef in the form of meat sauce. And then we have ground beef, like the beef ground up and on its own, but in a taco. At the end of the day, your kid is eating the ground beef and getting the nutrition that they need from the ground beef or from the broccoli. So again, try again in all different ways. Number 4, do not let packaging fool you. And this is kind of twofold. What I kind of mean by this is we have all these foods, and you can see a bunch of brands in the background here, that are so marketed to kids. And it's hard because your kid is sitting there asking you for the Go-Gurt that has SpongeBob on it. And that's okay to give them that. But just something that I want you to be conscious of is just because it's marketed towards kids doesn't necessarily mean it's the best thing that you can offer them. And sometimes there are health claims on foods that really aren't making it any better than something else. I'll give you a few examples, but just something to keep in mind. Here, we do have a couple of examples. So I kind of gave you like something that they might commonly ask for or perceive to be healthy, and then a better alternative. So for example, that SpongeBob Go-Gurt you would think would be healthy. It's definitely easy and convenient. I'll give you that. But there's only 2 grams of protein in it and a ton of carbs. I don't remember how many carbs there's, but there's 2 grams of protein. If you make them a smoothie using Greek yogurt, some fresh fruits and vegetables, especially vegetables, you might be able to hide some vegetables in there. You can get a smoothie that it might have 13 grams of protein and most of all, 8 grams of fiber. That's going to keep them way fuller. I don't know about you guys, but I'm sure that some of you have kids that you've given Go-Gurts to, and they want to eat like 4 of them at a time, maybe 2 of it as they get older. But again, yes, maybe now they're getting 8 grams of protein, but they're also getting all the empty calories and sugar that's coming with that. Not to mention the price point when your kids are eating that much. Next, we have veggie straws. Veggie straws are so perceived to be healthy. I'll be honest with you, I don't promote them to anyone, but only because if you look at some of just the key nutrition things, there's no fiber in them. There's no protein in them. There's 7 grams of fat, which is a little bit less than other types of fried chips. But generally speaking, I would rather eat the popcorn that you can see here, which for 3 cups of air popped popcorn, so there's no fat or anything added to this, but you definitely could. But for 3 cups, you only have 93 calories, almost 4 grams of fiber. You've got 3 grams of protein. And most of all is you have 3 cups of popcorn versus the nutrition that I have for the one up top is for an ounce. So it's like, I don't know, it was like 18 sticks, right? I would rather have a full bowl of popcorn for the same amount of better nutrition. And the thing is, kids love popcorn once they reach a certain age, right? Give your kids things that are age appropriate for their eating ability. But in big picture, there's other options that are better. The last thing that I put up here is fruit snacks. Fruit snacks are one of the most pointless types of foods out there. And believe me, I love fruit snacks. Like, it's okay. You can still like them, but they are kind of pointless. They're essentially candy. So this particular brand, there's no protein. It's 19 grams of carbs, which was pretty much all added sugar. And the first ingredient was corn syrup. Alternatively, if you give your kid a cup of raspberries, which they would be perfectly fine with, most kids would be. Yes, it's 15 grams of carbs, but it's natural sugar, 8 grams of fiber. It's 1 cup versus the tiny little pack of fruit snacks. And then you get all the vitamins and minerals that are coming with it. Okay, so again, much better. Finally, remember that all of this starts with you. So again, the whole reason why I picked this topic for this month is because so many of you want to do better at home so that your kids will want to do better and just naturally adopt this healthy habit. I can't tell you how many times I work with an adult and their goal is like, I just don't want to be trying to be healthy anymore. I just want to be healthy, right? So we are trying to foster this mentality with our kids to just be healthy, right? And it starts with them as young kids, they're watching you. And if you feel like you don't have all the tools and resources and all those habits nailed down to be that role model for them, that is what I am here for, right? You are going to Delta, you're getting your workouts and you're prioritizing your fitness. I am here to help you with prioritizing and learning how to change your habits so that they can be health, you can have healthy lifestyle changes, and then also have you feel like you're not constantly trying, right, to be healthy. You just are healthy, and you're helping to translate that now into your family. And this doesn't just affect kids, anyone in your family, right? And I focused more on the younger kids with this, but it's never too late if you have a 10-year-old, if you have a 15-year-old. It's never too late to start making changes because your children will see that no matter how old they are. Okay? Now, finally, keep a lookout during this month because I've kind of mentally themed this month to be related to family nutrition. And I'm going to be giving some tips and tricks on how to get better protein sources for you, for your kids, healthy snacks. So just keep your eye out for some of the social media posts I'll be putting in. Watch the presentation that is in the lobby because there's going to be some valuable stuff in there. And then finally, thank you for listening to me today. If you have any ideas for the next nutrition talk or any that you'd like for me to talk about during the year, of course, you just have to let me know. But for today, just keep in mind all of the tips and tricks that we talked about to help you make this a healthier, an easier, healthier lifestyle for all of you at home. Okay. Thank you again and goodbye.